yourself. Can you persuade other people? But we do that last. And you know, for most people, this is what they do work on last. They are in denial. That self-persuasion, that motivation. Have you ever had a day when you didn't feel like doing the things you know you needed to do? Every day. How do you stay on track? So let's talk about that, some of those obstacles. One, as we study successful people, we know that they follow their heart. And I commend you for being here today, because a small percentage of people in this country will actually come to seminars. And the rest, have you ever had anybody, friends or family, say, "Oh, you're going to another seminar"? You got that? "Oh, another seminar. Are you rich yet?" Why is it your family and friends, the people closest to you, the people that should support your dreams, are the first ones to spit on your dreams? They're jealous. They see that spark in your eye. They see that energy in your heart. And either consciously or subconsciously, they're going to pull you down, aren't they? That's just reality. You have Aunt Edna coming over for Thanksgiving. We call these people the living dead, parasites. She's sitting next to you, not even talking to you, and you can feel her sucking the energy out of you. You know what I'm talking about? That's Aunt Edna, isn't it? And you have to know, you have to follow your heart, you have to stay on track. That's what successful people do. Because we've been brainwashed growing up. Oh, be careful, you can't do it. In fact, one of my favorite stories comes from a gentleman named Peter Daniels. You ever heard of Peter Daniels before? A few of you? He's very wealthy. He's in Australia. But I pulled out this book, and I was looking at the title. It had a really interesting title. So I started reading it. He was in first grade when the book started. Growing up in Australia, family was very poor. His father was in the military. And he was a sickly kid. He didn't make very many friends. He went towards the end of the school year to this other class in first grade with a lady named Miss Phillips. Now, you take the worst teacher you've ever had, multiply it by 10, this is Miss Phillips. Would strike the students, was verbally abusive, just very mean. And we're studying out with social psychology that when you tell a first grader something, guess what? It sticks. And so one day she didn't like him. And one day she said, "Peter Daniels, front of the room, now." He didn't know what to tell now. And he walked up. He was kind of sheepish. He said, "Class, this is Peter Daniels. He's going to fail out of this school. He's going to be a failure his whole life. I don't want you to be his friend." Well, first of all, she should be shot for destroying a life. And he failed out of school. He failed out of life. Nobody was his friend. This belief came true. You know about belief systems. Then he finally realized, you know what, it's this moment. I need to change the way I think about myself. I need to change my belief system. And he did. Got into real estate in Australia, became a billionaire with the B. And he wrote this book I was reading. It was titled, "Miss Phillips, You Were Wrong." You were wrong. And you know what I'm telling you right now? Every single one of us, we have a Miss Phillips in our life, don't we? An Aunt Edna in our life that's just spitting on our dreams. We'll show them. But you follow your heart. Because it's interesting, people always, it's kind of like they make fun of you on the way up and they resent you once you're there. Isn't that true? Not that it's fair, that's just reality. I grew up in Southern California, down the street in the city of Orange. I was visiting my family for the holidays. It was around Christmas time. And we went to the John Wayne Airport. And the holiday cheer had left the building. The flights were oversold. We were going to get bumped. I didn't know what to do. And it was just a real eye-opener for me. The attendant said, "Mr. Mortensen, please come to the desk." I'm like, we're going to get bumped. He says, "Mr. Mortensen, would you mind if we upgraded your whole family to first class?" Duh. "Oh, well, I don't know. The seats are too big." What do you want me to say? Sure. So it was me and my wife, and I had a 3-year-old daughter, very small, very petite. So she's all there boarding, grab your things and go ahead and board. So I got my wife by the window, my daughter in the aisle, and I sat across the aisle, and there was no more room in the overhead bin, so I put it behind the curtain in coach, not thinking much of it. And I watched the faces of the people coming in. And I was amazed. They were kind of mad. They were giving my daughter, she was sitting there with her soda and her cookies, having a great time in this huge seat. They were mad. I'm thinking, can't anybody buy a first-class seat? They can, can't they? But people would rather resent you for sitting there than paying the price to get there. And we landed. I said, "Excuse me, sir, I need to get my own bin." He looked at me and says, "You know what? You're not first class. You're no class." Like, wow, where did that come from? But people are like that. You follow your heart. You're on the right track. And you have to understand the function of fear. How much does fear cost you? Quite a bit. Now, here's the interesting thing. You probably know this. We are only born with 2 fears in life.